Namaste and welcome. We're going to find a comfortable position. So get really comfortable. So if that means lying for yourself on your back or staying seated, these are all options. So if you're lying on your back, try to aim the heels to the corners of the mat. The arms are relaxed next to the side of the body. Just work those shoulder blades slightly in, create a lift in the chest. And just feel that back of the neck lengthen along the mat. If you're seated, the ankles are comfortably crossed. You're stacking the shoulders over the hips, finding a nice length in the spine. Make sure the chin is parallel to the floor. And just feel the face softening, feel the jaw softening. And whether you're lying down or you're seated, just start to notice your breathing. Just notice that natural breath flowing in and out through that belly. So feel each breath starting from the belly as you rise and expand through that breath. And each exhale just settling back down into the floor. Tracing this breath through the body. And just allow this breath to bring you a little bit more home towards yourself. So our practice for tonight is going to focus on the base chakra, the mooladhara chakra. So right now, for many, it might feel as if your base has been shook, like your support is crumbling underneath you, like you've been uprooted. So this class tonight is all about connecting to the earth, again, feeling a sense of supportedness, and just in this short space of time, creating a space where you can feel safe and where you can feel held. Sometimes in life we can be too grounded. That's when we become inflexible, maybe too set in our ways and too stubborn. And this is perhaps one way our root chakra, our base chakra, can become blocked or out of balance. Now, the problem here, if we're unable to bend and adapt to life's changes, we risk breaking ourselves. But on the other hand, we can also feel very insecure and sometimes a complete opposite to that, a complete lack of grounding. Insecure in our own decisions, insecure in our environment, feeling like things are maybe chaotic and out of control. And then that's too an indication that we need to just bring a sense of balance. So in that space, what we need is what will ground us. So that root awareness starts by focusing on grounding through the feet, feeling that connection of the earth and the feet. So with that connection of the feet to the earth, we focus on the legs and the groundedness, that awareness of the pelvis brings. And the pelvis, if we think of it, almost becomes this container that holds this body here. Wendy, would you just put on mute for us, please? So in our class tonight, focusing on that sense of grounding, focusing on just feeling a sense of control again. And sometimes that control might start from the inside, just shifting our perspective. So right now there's a constant influx of news and material, and it can quickly feel overwhelming. But we see the moment we shift that awareness inwards, things can start quieting down, and we can find that center and that control again. Bringing that awareness back to the breath. I want you to feel here into the body, into the mind, any emotions that you might be experiencing right now. It might be fear. It might be sadness. It might be anger. Whatever you're feeling in yourself, I want you to acknowledge what you are feeling. Whatever you are feeling is valid. Now, can you tune into that feeling and that emotion and identify where in your body you might be feeling this? You can place your hands in the space where you're feeling whatever emotion you're currently experiencing. Now, can you send your breath to that space where you are feeling that emotion? And can you allow that breath to fully merge into that emotion? Just allow that breath to surround that emotion. What would be the opposite of this emotion? How would the opposite of this emotion look like? How would the opposite of this emotion feel like in your body? Maybe creating that sensation of whatever that opposite might be. Maybe a sense of hope or peace, kindness, happiness. Now allow that sensation to fully wash over your body. Allow it to penetrate your body like a breath, moving in between the cells. Now, where are you feeling this emotion? Place your hands where you might be feeling this emotion. Now let this new, perhaps more positive, opposite emotion fully immerse in your body, penetrate every fiber of your being. Take a deep breath in as we reach the arms up and overhead, pointing the toes. Exhale, hug the knees into the chest. Flattening the spine into the floor. And you can gently rock left to right. Slowly make that movement a little bit bigger. Can you roll all the way over to the right, all the way over to the left? And slowly back to center. Bring the hands behind the knees, slowly start to rock forwards and back along the spine. And making your way all the way to the top into a seated position. The ankles are comfortably crossed. The backs of the hands to the knees and the spine is nice and tall. Draw those shoulders down the length of the spine. Feel yourself lightly lifting, reaching up into the collarbones. Soften any tension you might hold in the face. Bring it back to that breath. Just feel that breath starting from the belly and exhale effortlessly, letting go. And then we'll open our class chanting 3 Oms. Let's exhale, empty the breath. Inhale, we take a deep breath in to prepare. Take a deep breath in as we reach the arms up and overhead, the palms together to touch. Reach those arms high up, almost hugging those ears with the biceps. We're bending over to the right, reaching those fingers up and overhead. Feel that side bend into the left of the body. Inhale back to center, and we stretch it over to the left. Inhale to center, left hand to the right knee. Gentle twist as we look over the right shoulder, using those abdominal muscles to guide you a little deeper into that twist. Exhale, releasing chin to chest, right hand to the left knee. We twist as we take it over to that left shoulder. Slowly back to center. Moving any props you might have been sitting on out the way. We're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Bring the tops of the knees and the feet into the floor, making your way into your tabletop. So just moving, connecting into that breath, starting with a gentle cat-cow. We're going to drop the belly down as we hollow the spine. Look to the top, to the front of your mat. Exhale, pushing the hands into the floor, rounding the spine. And following that breath here. As we shift that focus for this practice towards our mooladhara chakra, connecting and grounding into the feet, the legs, the pelvis. Start to shift your awareness here to that movement into the pelvis. Just noticing where there's any tightness. Just allow that pelvis to start to move here, unrestricted. A last exhale, pushing the hands into the floor, rounding that spine. Slowly bring it back to a neutral spine. Keeping that left hand into the floor, we're going to take a deep inhale. Right arm reaches up, stacking those arms one on top of the other. Take a deep breath into those top fingers. Can you reach a little taller into that top hand? Exhale, we're going to thread that hand through the left side, resting on the top of that that right shoulder. And your options here, either straightening out that right arm or reaching it around the back, grabbing hold of that right thigh. If you're holding onto that right thigh, make sure you roll that left shoulder open. Now breathe into where you might be feeling tight. Bring that left hand back towards the floor. Deep breath in as we reach right fingers back up to the ceiling. Stretching into that top hand. Now exhale, lower it back down into a neutral position. Weight into all fours. Just get quiet here. Notice what you feel here in the body. Taking it over to the left. We take a deep breath in, reaching that left hand up. Look up to those fingers if it's comfortable in the neck. And as you take a next breath in, stretch those left fingers up to the ceiling. Exhale, we thread the arm through underneath that right, resting on the side of the head, on the left shoulder. And then we can either walk that right hand forward or take it around the back, rolling that right shoulder down the length of the spine. Slowly replace that that right hand, pushing into that right hand. We're going to reach those left fingers up. Find a little bit more space to lengthen that top hand. And then we replace that top hand down into the floor. We're going to move the hands slightly more forward. Tuck the toes. Have enough space for that full length of your downward dog. We're sending the hips up and drawing the legs, the backs of the legs to the back of the room. So find space to just stretch into this whole body. Inhale, we shift the body forward, coming into a plank. Our hands are underneath the shoulders, pressing flat into the floor. The legs are strong and active. Now send the heels to the back. Feel those knees lifting, quads engaging. Exhale, slowly over the toes, back into your downward dog. From here, we're going to move the hands, one hand at a time, all the way to the back to meet the feet. Start to bend the knees as you come a little closer, and you can grab hold of the elbows here as you allow the body to hang forward into your ragdoll. Just feel that spine being heavy. Allow that spine to surrender and release towards the floor. And slowly uncurling vertebra by vertebra, we're going to uncurl the spine all the way up into standing. Make your way to the top of your mat, into Tadasana. The feet are together touching or just slightly apart. Spread the toes wide enough. Good. Now draw. With that feet pressed into the floor, draw that awareness up the legs, lift the knees, engage the quads. Now feel that pelvis. Even bring the hands to the hips and just make sure that pelvis is neutral. So we're not staking the buttocks out. We're also not squeezing or tucking the tailbone. We just feel the skin on the sitting bones, releasing down towards the floor. Good. Now feel a lightness in the abdomen. Feel the belly gently drawing back, almost away from your clothing, but a slight upwards lifting. So not squeezing the abdominals, but just that subtle engagement. Now feel how that helps to lengthen that whole spine up. Let that sensation continue out the crown of the head. The arms are relaxed next to the side of the body. Fingers pointing actively down the mat. And even close the eyes here for a moment as we bring our awareness to this full Tadasana. Tadasana, our mountain pose. And with that focus on grounding this evening, that mountain pose most definitely brings a sense of groundedness. If you visualize this mountain and feeling your feet grounded into the floor as this mountain, now start to shift a little bit more of your weight into the left foot. We're going to turn the right knee out to the side. Make sure those hips are facing forward. You can even bring the hands onto the hips here as we start to preparing for Vrikshasana, our tree pose. So there are some options here, and here it's important to listen to your body. If the balance doesn't feel quite there, level 1 remains right here with that right foot supporting you on the floor. Level 2, maybe that foot moves to the calf, or level 3, foot to that inner thigh, but make sure you're not putting that foot directly on the knees. So either on that calf or high up to that thigh. Hips are facing forward, and we're drawing that knee out to the side. Let's bring those hands into the heart center. Find that balance. Let your eyes settle on a still, steady spot. And then slowly we start to inhale, reach those arms up. Moving slowly, holding that balance, and then keeping those palms together, touching, lengthen the fingers to the ceiling. And just bring that body to stillness. Sometimes that balance might become completely undone the moment we lose our focus. Just bring that awareness back to a still, steady spot. We hug that knee into the chest. Lift up tall. And exhale, release. Right foot down. Standing in your Tadasana. Bring the weight into the right foot. Inhale. Drawing that left knee out to the side. Your body is facing forward. Bring the hands onto the hips. Now listening to the body and the balance here. And this might not be exactly the same as what you did on the previous side. So there's no competition here. Just listening to ourselves. So either that foot supported on the floor or on the calf muscle. We'll bring it to the inner thigh. Draw that knee out to the side. Good. Now feel that length in the spine. Bring the hands into the heart center. Taking it easy. Find that still, steady focus. And once you are ready, start to reach the arms up. Spreading those branches of the tree, finding that length. Feel still that sense of groundedness in that bottom leg. Start to notice all these little stabilizing muscles working in that foot, that ankle, to keep you supported here. And then we slowly hug that left knee into the chest. And gently let it go. Standing in your Tadasana, shoulders down the length of the spine. As we inhale, we take a deep breath in. Take a fast step back with the right leg. We aim the right toes to the long edge of the mat, bending deep into that front left leg. Arms are relaxed next to the side of the body. Now have a look at that front thigh, front knee. Can you bend a little bit more into that front leg as we aim that thigh towards the floor? Now draw that knee, that front knee out to the side. Make sure it's not collapsing inward. At the same time, we want to feel that back hip opening up. So feel that thigh rolling back. Arms are out, extended to the sides. Fingers stretching to the opposite sides of the room. But make sure we're not drawing the shoulders up as you exhale. Let the shoulders get heavy, but keep reaching those arms out to the side. Now let that breath quiet down as you find that grounding in the feet. And just feel any chaos, any storm around you starting to slow down as you move towards your center. Inhale, straightening out that front leg. With control, we're going to step that back foot forward. Hands next to the side of the body. We're taking that awareness over to the opposite side. So taking a deep breath in, we step forward with that left leg. Make sure it's that full length leg. We're stepping back. The back toes facing the long edge of the mat. And we settle into that warrior two. Have a look at that front leg alignment. Knee is pointing forward. And we're aiming that thigh parallel to the floor. That front knee is not collapsing in. And we feel that back hip opening out. Have a look at that back foot. Where's the weight in that back foot? Can you send weight into the outside edge of that back foot, lifting the arch of that foot? Breathe here into this whole body. Despite whatever challenge the strong warrior posture might bring, can you bring it back to that breath? And just find in that breath a sense of stillness and calmness. We're going to straighten out that front leg, stepping that back foot in, maybe two-step to the top of your mat. Hands are relaxed next to the side of the body. And you can even close the eyes here for a moment as you just take a moment to feel into your body. What are you feeling here? And where are you feeling it? We're going to take another fast step back with that right leg. Left toes pointing forward. Arms extending out to the side. This time we're going to keep that front leg straight. Reaching into those front fingers. And maybe here that hand comes down to the knee. Maybe you have a block or a book that you can place as support next to the side of the leg. Or maybe that hand goes all the way down and the arms are stacked one on top of the other. So a lovely deep standing posture here. And I want you to bring the top hand to the ribs. And I want you to feel that top hand, drawing those ribs back. And then we're almost stacking the shoulders one on top of the other. And if it's comfortable, turn your gaze to the top hand or look straight forward. Again, we're feeling in that back hip that same sensation of that hip rotating outwards. And just find that stillness, that sense of grounding. As you use that breath, coming home to yourself, into this body. On your next inhale, we're going to breathe into those top hands, lifting the body up. Turn the feet parallel to one another. Then we're going to turn that back leg now, facing the short edge of the mat. The opposite leg, so the left leg is facing the long edge of the mat. No, we're keeping that front leg straight and we're straightening out the arms. Breathing into the right fingers, maybe placing that right hand onto the knee, or maybe all the way down to the floor, arms stacked one on top of the other. Again, bring that top hand to the ribs and just feel yourself drawing those ribs back, stacking the ribs, the shoulders one on top of the other, back thigh rolling open, and those arms Almost in that perfect alignment, one on top of the other. Checking in, is the neck comfortable here? Is the legs engaged? So I want you to feel the feet press down into the floor and feel yourself drawing up on those legs, knees engaging, quads gripping. We take a next inhale, slowly lifting the body back up. Turning the feet to face the long edge of your mat, feet parallel to one another. And here I want you to shift the weight onto the outside edges of those feet. Hands onto the hips. We lengthen out of the hips and folding from the hips, come to a neutral flat back. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Come onto the fingertips as you lift and find that flat back here. Draw the knees up. Yeah, you want to stack the hips on top of the knees. Good. We're going to walk the hands back, keeping a 90-degree bend in the arms. Fold the heart down towards the floor. Now shift a little bit more weight into the balls of the feet. Just feel that extra stretch and lengthening happening in the backs of the legs across those hamstrings. Now here the aim is to find that length in the spine. So feel the collarbones reaching towards the floor. Slowly start to walk the hands underneath the shoulders, coming high up onto the tips of the fingers. Again, that flat back. Make sure the legs are straight, the knees are lifting. We're going to bring the hands to the hips. Yes, hard here in those quads and hamstrings with control. Slowly bring the body up. We're going to turn the feet 1, maybe 2 times, bending deep into the knees, backs of the hands to the knees as we lower down into a goddess squat. Sinking down. Spine is lengthened and tall. Exhale, just feel those feet pressing into the floor, creating that sense of groundedness. Slowly straightening the legs. You can step the feet together to touch and the arms relax next to the side of the body. Bring the weight into that left leg. We're going to lift the right leg off the floor, cross that knee or that ankle over that left knee. As we start to sit down, bring the hands into the heart center. So make sure your weight is a little bit more towards the heel on that standing foot. When you start to bend a little deeper into that standing leg, keep that lift in the spine. Inhale, we're going to stand up with control. Hug that right knee into the chest. This time we're going to cross it over the left. Nice and tight cross. Now, if your hips aren't super happy here, you can go back to that ankle cross. If you're still following here, we're going to start bending into that standing leg. Maybe hook the toes across that ankle. But also not necessary, that toe can hang out to the side. So finding where the body is happy. And as you exhale, sit down a little bit deeper. Going to extend the arms out to the side. We're going to bring that left hand down, right arm crosses. And we bring those thumbs maybe close to touch. Lifting the elbows and moving the hands away from the face. And crossing that ankle, slowly back up to stand, hugging that right leg into the chest and letting it go. Just bring the weight equally into both feet. Take a moment here to breathe and notice any tightness releasing from the legs. We start to shift our weight into that right leg. Let's cross the left ankle over that right knee. So we start to bend into that right leg, sink down low, bring the hands into heart center. Find that length in the spine. Can you sink down a little bit deeper? Slowly start to straighten that standing leg. Hug the left knee into the chest. And we cross that left leg. Now nice and tight over the right. Maybe lower a little bit more down as we find that double bind, preparing for Garandasana, eagle pose. Arms are out to the side. Right hand down, left arm on top. Cross at the elbows. We reach for that left thumb. Slowly unhook the toes behind that ankle. We're hugging that left knee into the chest. And letting go of that leg. Come to stand equally into both feet. Taking a moment to feel the feet pressed into the floor. Bring it back to that breath. Bring it back to that stillness. We're going to take an inhale. Take a fast step back with that right leg. Get that full length of that leg. That heel stays off the floor, but we're sending that back leg to the back of the room. Bend deep into that front leg. Arms extend up into a high crescent lunge. Exhale, feel the body keep lowering down towards the floor, but at the same time, create that sense of lightness as you inhale. Feel that reaching into the top fingers. Exhale, release both hands down into your plank as you step back with that front foot, send the heels back. Exhale, send the hips up and back into your downward dog. Inhale, we extend that right leg up. Looking forward in between the hands, stepping that right foot forward. Keep sending that left leg back. Lower down as we bend deep into that front leg, aiming the thigh parallel to the floor. Getting ready for that high crescent lunge as we inhale, arms extend up. So find that balance here. Exhale, that sense of groundedness. Keep activating that back leg. Inhale, that sense of lightness as we're reaching the upper body up. Slowly release hands to either side. We step back, plank. And coming down onto the knees. The knees is just wide enough for the chest to come through. Sink the heels down towards the hips down towards the heels. And lower the forehead down towards the floor. Coming into your wide-legged child's pose. Just slowing it down, bringing it back to breath. Find that breath in through the nose, out through the nose. Inhale, we slide the body forward. along the mat, coming to lie on the belly. The hands are stacked one on top of the other, and the forehead is resting on the hands. Feel that breath. And let your mind start to become aware of all the different body parts making contact with the floor. We're going to bend into the legs, reaching the hands back towards the ankles. Yeah, I want you to bring those knees slightly together. Now reaching into the ankles, keeping the knees on the floor. First, I want you to just send the legs back. Feel the upper body start to lift off the floor. Feel those shoulder blades squeezing together. Kick a little bit more into those hands as you create that arch in the spine. Very important, stay with that breath. Can you bring it to slow, controlled breaths here? Lifting the legs off the floors. Keep kicking into the hands, but keep drawing those knees together. Don't let them splay out too far out. And slowly letting go of the legs, lowering back down onto the belly. Bringing the elbows underneath the shoulders. Hands are flattened to the floor. We're going to roll those shoulders down the length of the spine. Feel the hips grounded into the floor. Just feel the spine lengthening up. Check that there's no tension in the shoulders. Feel that those shoulders melting down the length of the spine. Create that lightness as you reach the collarbones up. I feel the feet pressing into the floor, drawing those knees up. Exhale, slowly releasing it down, forehead to the floor. Bringing the hands in line with the chest. We're going to push back into a child's pose. Have the knees together. We'll reach the arms around the back. Bring the forehead to the floor. And here allow the whole body to get heavy and surrender. Allow the shoulders to round and release. Very slowly raising the upper body, straightening out the legs in front of you. We're going to move the sitting bones out of the way. If you have a support here, especially if you feel you're slouching into the spine, having a support, even if it's a firm little pillow or a block, goes a great deal in just creating that length in the spine. But here the legs are straight. The heels are pressing down into the floor. Now already feel those legs activate. Feel the knees drawing up, the quads are gripping. Now, as you press the legs down, feel to create a space for you to lengthen the spine. We reach the arms up, Dandasana, palms together to touch. And we lengthen into the spine, almost hugging those ears with the biceps. Continue inhaling, reaching, folding from the hips. Here we're going to let the hands go to where they go, maybe next to the floor, rolling the shoulders back. So it's more important that we keep that length in the spine than it is rounding just to get our nose down. So that means the hands stay here. That is perfectly fine. Perhaps the feet are an easy reach. If that is the case, then again, not just rounding the spine to get the body down, but keeping that length. Roll the shoulders down the length of the spine. And here we focus on bending into the elbows, feeling that deep stretch, not only across the back, but mostly here in the hamstrings. So breathe into that opening of the back body. So Paschimottanasana in Sanskrit translates into intense stretch to the waist. Now, the waist of your body is the back of your body. So we are definitely feeling that intense stretch across the backs of the legs, across the spine. So just give yourself space to breathe into where it is tight. Use that breath to just navigate through that tension. As you exhale, just feel that body releasing a little bit more of that tension as we start to draw that awareness a bit more inward each breath. Inhale slowly, coming back up, going to bend into the legs, come to lie on the back. Walking those heels close towards the body. Walk the shoulder blades in, create a lift in the chest. We're going to end off here with a mild inversion, our bridge pose, before we take it down into relaxation. So here you can also decide how you want to take this bridge pose tonight. Maybe if you want to take a bit more of a restorative approach, we're going to bring the arms underneath the hips for support. The feet are flattened to the floor, and we're walking those elbows in, making sure those knees don't go wider than hip width, and we keep those heels underneath the knees. You can maybe take it one step up by interlacing the fingers behind the back. Continue walking those shoulder blades in as you lengthen the arms along the spine. So finding here where your body wants to be. And then exhaling very slowly, uncurling the spine, one vertebra at a time, lowering all the way down to the floor. Bring the soles of the feet together to touch. Drop the knees out to the side. The arms are relaxed next to the side of the body. The chest is lifted and the chin is drawn down towards the chest. Allow yourself to soften into the hips. Allow yourself to let the body get heavy. Each exhale, drawing a little further into the floor. Bring the hands onto the outside edges of the knees and just help those legs together. You can hug both knees into the chest, flattening the spine into the floor. We're reaching the elbows to the insides of the legs, holding on to the outside edges of the feet. Bring the feet parallel to the ceiling. Draw those knees down as you flatten the spine into the floor. You can hold a little bit longer here in a static pose, or if it feels good in your body, you're welcome to rock left to right. Bring it back to center. Bring the soles of the feet together to touch. Draw them into the body, flatten the spine into the floor. Bringing both feet down to the mat. We're going to extend the arms into a T shape, palms facing down. As you exhale, drop both knees over to the left. Keep your gaze to the ceiling and feel both shoulder blades melting down heavy to the floor. Bring the knees to center. Drop them over to the opposite side. Feel that softening across the abdomen, across the hips. Bring the knees back to center. You can straighten out the legs here, and maybe before you fully get comfortable, you can first just put on something warm, maybe have a blanket close by. So once you're nice and cozy, you can lie on your back. So lying on the back, aim the heels to the corners of the mat. The arms are relaxed next to the side of the body. Walk the shoulder blades together, create that lift in the chest. Feel the back of the neck lengthen along the mat. Draw the chin into the chest. Make sure the legs are relaxed. Drop the pinky side of the toes towards the mat. The fingers are relaxed, and you're feeling the fingers curling in naturally. Take a deep breath into your body. And as you exhale, just letting go of your practice. Letting go of anywhere you might still be holding tension in the body. Allow the body to let go into complete stillness. Stillness of this physical body. Stillness of the mind. Telling yourself right now, you can completely let go, even if it is just for these next few minutes. Noticing your breathing again. Take a deep breath into that belly, a big expansive breath, energizing this body. And as you exhale heavily, just notice all the different parts releasing and softening into the floor. Slowly touch your thumb to each finger and start to make small movements into the wrists, the ankles. You can wiggle the toes here. With your next inhale, reaching the arms up and overhead, you can stretch the body. Exhale, hug the knees into the chest. Flatten the spine into the floor. Rolling over to the right arm under the head for support. Take a moment here just to observe how the body is feeling, how the mind is feeling. And then using the left hand, pushing yourself up to seated. Bring the hands into heart center. May there be peace in my mind, love on my tongue, and joy in my heart. Namaste.